stiff arms the crap out of Dre Kirkpatrick right there.
Going down again. It's Q. Quinn Williams.
Fighting through contact, fighting through two offensive linemen, beating the double team, multiple moves stacked into one. Just a play of pure domination. This is actual film. This is actual football talk. It's a football show. We're supposed to talk football, not storylines. Hello, and you are listening to the 16th edition of Blewett's Blitz. As you can see, we are joined by another guest, Jamaal Westerman, who we appreciate having on the show. Currently a member of the CFL's Hamilton Tiger Cats and a former Jet from 2009 to 2011. Two-time All-Big East at Rutgers. He's now working in conjunction with Rutgers. And I was told to say by Scott Jamaal that you sacked Tom Brady not only once, but twice. I don't want to say that.
I never got him in Tampa Bay, though.
Never got him in Tampa. Yes. Yeah, so again, we appreciate you having you on. We try to get players who played positions or at least similar positions that we'll be breaking down. So first time on the show, I hope it's going to be a good time. We're going to break down 25 plays of Jabari Zuniga, the Jets' third-round pick. We'll be going over strengths and weaknesses. We'll be not debating, but we'll be talking about some of his technique and what both of our thoughts are on some of his plays. After that, our next show will probably be Perrine, and then we're going to do Bryce Hall. I have some all-22 of him, so that's going to be fun to do. Other than that, we're getting to the film pretty quickly. We did get a 50th review from Maximus D163 at the end of the show. I'm going to let Jamaal go, and then we're going to give away a T-shirt I'm going to go to a list randomizer. I'll share it on my screen. Whoever finishes number one there gets the shirt. So I appreciate you guys leaving the reviews. It really does help the show. So Jamaal, we're going to get to know you a little bit. A lot of people know Marcus very, very well. He's still in Antigua. Scouting out my wedding. As you can see the last episode, he was tropical stuff behind him. Good dude, but we're going to have you on to break down the outside linebacker. You've played outside linebacker, D-end, all of that. You were in the NFL, so you played at the absolute top level of football. So first talk about what was that like? What were your years like with the Jets, 2009, 2011? What was it like transitioning from college into the NFL? You played during the best Jets years, especially for kids my age. I'm 27. I'm not really a kid anymore. I shouldn't even say that. But you played during the best years to be a Jets fan in recent history. So what was it like coming into a team in 2009 who went to the AFC Championship game 2 years in a row? What was that like for you?
I mean, appreciate you having me again. It was fun, man. Coming out of college, I came out of college with an injury, so coming into the NFL was a little bit of a question of, now you're getting your feet back under you, and this is going to be the first time I was able to compete physically against somebody else. But being on those teams, it was a blast, man. Honestly, Rex and the staff that he got together, they were very close, and it was a good group, a good staff that taught a lot, and they really believed in their culture. They really believed in the defense and the way they kind of put that team together. And then with the teammates we had, I think it was cool that we had some veteran guys, like all the offensive linemen were big veteran guys that were on the team before, but a lot of the defensive guys that came over, some of the guys were new. So it was a good mix of, kind of like guys that were Jets and guys that, came to the Jets. And I believe in those first 2 years, we were able to come together, 2 AFC championship games. We didn't win them, but, we kind of got there. So it was definitely a great experience. Definitely crazy. Everybody knows Rex, and Rex is a lot of fun to play for as a player because he has your back, and the staff that they put around and the other players. Me and Bart talk, Cal, Dave. Our linebacker rooms, were a lot of veteran guys. So for me, they kind of took me under their wing, and it was cool. And it really shows that the NFL is really a brotherhood, right? Once you get in the locker room, and guys are there, they're willing to teach you. If you're willing to learn. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of learning, but it was crazy, man. That locker room, the characters in that locker room, you go from top to bottom, starting with, our head coach all the way down. Stories to tell, man. Stories to tell.
Yeah, I'm sure some stories that you're not going to share on this, so I'm not even going to ask them. There's some stuff that stays in the locker room. I get it. So talking about that, what was your favorite game as a Jet? You were there for, like I said, 3 really, really good years. The 2011 year not being as good as 9 and 10, but still nonetheless. What was your favorite game as a Jet?
Oh man, I would think there's 2 games that stand out. I can't say because I love the game, so I can't say my favorite game. But my first game, I actually, we went down and played Houston. It's Rex's first game as head coach, and I got to play a little bit more because Pace was suspended. and I ended up getting a sack in my first NFL game in my debut, which was always, which is very special to me even till today, because some guys play in the NFL and never get a sack. So for me to get the sack in my first game that I played in, that was great. And I think, playing in those playoff games against, Peyton, and then we ended up beating Tom Brady and the Patriots my second year in the playoffs. I think that game right there, the energy, the enthusiasm, the competitive nature, you get a division game rivals, that close, the fan bases, basically hate each other. So I think that right there, the energy of that game, that may be my favorite game, because it's playoff, all the money's in the middle of the table, everything's on the line, and we end up coming out with a W. And I had a lot of buddies, on the Patriots at the time, from Rutgers, so that was kind of cool beating them. But hats off to them. But that game was, it was nuts, man. Playoff atmosphere in the NFL, woo. Crazy.
Yeah, talk about atmosphere. I wasn't even planning on asking this. It was one of my favorite games to go to as a Jet, but do you remember the 2009 home opener where you guys beat the Patriots? Yeah, Rex's first game in MetLife, because that, in my personal experience, was the loudest game I've ever been to. I think Sean Ellis came out after the game and said that the players actually felt the stadium vibrating. So do you remember that game at all?
I absolutely do. I remember Rex the whole week. He was talking to the fans through the media. We need y'all there. We need y'all to be loud, get nice and lathered up. Remember, he said, get nice and hydrated.
Yeah.
The right type of hydration. We're not going to say what it is. We're not branded here, but the right type of hydration.
With water.
Going nuts in that old stadium. Yes, with water.
Yeah.
With water with bubbles.
Yeah. So.
And you can feel the stadium. You can feel the vibrations, man. It was, and again, against what? A rival, right? And in those rival games, those division games where you're playing against a team and that caliber of quarterback and head coach is always great.
Yeah, it was crazy. Rex's first game, Mark Sanchez's first home game. I remember that was the old Giants stadium, and I was up in the nosebleeds, and there was like a metal like air conditioning unit in the top of the stadium, and me and my friends walked out and I bruised our hands for like 3-4 days. We were just slamming metal for freaking 4 hours straight. That was one of the best moments. I would say a lot of the games against the Patriots, like beating them in 2015, that game against the Patriots, it's all been pretty awesome. I remember my first Patriots game was the game where Jericho Cotchery caught the ball, got tackled, somehow like fell down, did a 180, ran in for a touchdown. Beating the Patriots at home is definitely fun, and it doesn't happen a lot. Hopefully now with Tom Brady leaving the division, it happens a little bit more than it did. But transitioning from your favorite game to your favorite play, is there a favorite play that you had? Like I said, you sacked Tom Brady not only once but twice. Was that one of them, or was there a different play? Your favorite.
You know what, man? I can't say I had a favorite play. Obviously sacking quarterbacks, I loved it. But there were some things that I did even on special teams with, with Coach Westhoff that, just being a great special teams coach. And I remember I made a big play where I had a tackle, I believe, inside the 20 in that playoff game against the Patriots. Now, it wasn't a sack, but that was a big play because tackling inside the 20, they have a longer drive. They have to punt it. We get points. So I think, it's hard to say, but just those impact plays where, it's a big play, not only for yourself, but in the grand scheme of the game and the makeup of it. So, I enjoyed the game, man. Any play I was able to make, man, sacks, tackles, those plays. And it's always fun the next day because the one thing about Rex, he always builds you up. So if you make a play, the next day there's posters in the locker room with you making a play. We're watching videos of playing like a jet and you knocking somebody off. So, any play you can make and you get the love from your teammates is always fun.
Yeah. Now transitioning from good plays, what was your welcome to the NFL moment? Did you have one of those where you got pancaked or something like that?
Welcome to my NFL moment. My rookie year, we go to camp and I'm playing middle linebacker. So I was a DN in college at Rutgers. We knew I was going to play outside linebacker, but we didn't have much depth behind Dave Harris at Mike. We had Larry Izzo, who was, tremendous linebacker, special teams fanatic, but they needed another linebacker behind Dave. So they actually had me play Mike during, for camp and preseason. And I'll never forget it. Welcome to the NFL moment was we're in camp. I think it's the first day in pads, helmets on. I'm lined up. They're like, all right, jump in here. There's 3 spots. There was 3 spots. I'm lined up at Mike, and basically they're running the play, and I got to go head to head with Faneca. All right. Head to head with Faneca, man goal, me. I'm just coming downhill, and I remember I hit Faneca, and I was like, I'm gonna hit him with everything I got. I'm gonna show everybody that I'm here to stay. And I hit him, and all I remember was the next day. I was like, where am I at? Man, this NFL, it's something for you. But that was it, where it was just that physical nature of, you think of Nick Faneca. He was an older guy at that time. He played a ton of years. He's been to Pro Bowl, but he was at, coming towards the last couple of years.
Mhm.
And he still had what he was great at with that pop. And he still can get under you and hit me. And when I got hit, I was like, it's not just your strength, but it's your technique, right? It's your technique and the things you learn. So that was my wake-up moment, like, all right, you can't just go down and do what you want. You have to hit him with technique and find out how to play the game rather than just running around.
Do you remember, was he climbing to the second level in like a zone, or was he pulling?
No, it wasn't even, it was a drill. It wasn't even a 7, it wasn't even
okay.
a 11 on 11. It was literally a drill where either he was going to double up with the guard and come up to the mic, and I was playing mic. I didn't even know where to put my hands at mic. I didn't know if I put them on my knees, I put them on my hips. I had him up in the air. I didn't know what I was doing at Mike linebacker. And he came up and he hit me. And I was like, man, it's the NFL.
Yeah. Now with that, who was the best player you ever matched up against, whether it be with the Jets or, during your career?
I think the best tackle, I mean, with the Jets, obviously, having DeBrickashaw there, I mean, I think that helped me just, because a lot of times in practice we'll go against each other because I'll do some scout team work and I'll try to give him a great look. So having him, I think, made me a better player. But I guess a player I played against who I thought had tremendous ability, quickness, size, speed, and kind of set different sets and cut you off, with Trent Williams with the Redskins. Playing against him, man, I mean, he was like a big basketball player moving around the field. I mean, he can jump set you, he can play you slow, he can give you the hand, take it away, so he can kind of do everything. So it's gonna be fun this year to see him play on a different team.
Yeah, that was something that a lot of Jets fans wanted, and being 32 years old, he still has a lot of years left if he could stay healthy. Because I still think he's a top 5 type tackle in the league when healthy. So it's going to be interesting to see.
And if he's still in that shape, and if he's still in shape and has a great size, he didn't play last year, so he has a year that his body probably feels better. He's probably moving better. So I think, he's going to have a good season.
Now, last question about your time with the Jets. Revis, everybody has to ask about him. He's probably the best player in terms of like their peak of play. I think he's the best player to ever play for the Jets. Do you think he's the best corner ever? And what was that like? Because you guys were a physical defense. You guys gave effort on every single play, but he was like the definition of that. He's a little more of a quiet leader, it seemed like, but he brought it every single practice. So what was it like playing with him? And do you think like he's on the Mount Everest of corners ever?
I definitely believe, he's on the Mount Everest of corner. What he did and what the defense did and what he allowed us to do those first couple of years where, it was a Revis rule. He shut down. He kept everybody under like 10 yards. All the top 10 receivers, he kept them under 10 yards. But the bigger thing that I always noticed about Revis, was more that he was, great in practice. He was great in the games, but his preparation, like the way he watched film, where after practice, after our meetings, we'll be leaving and Revis is still in there and he's literally just watching the receiver come off the ball. And he's watching it 100 times, so he memorizes it, so he knows every route he's going to run, where his hand's going to be. And he'll come to us like, hey, I can tell when it's a pass because he plays with his gloves, or this foot is up, or this is how he comes out of the huddle. So I'll alert you guys so you know to rush the passes. So, he was such a, the way he prepared every day, I think it was a testament. Just me being a young rookie and seeing this guy who, you hear, Revis is good, he's the greatest, but then that preparation, and why he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's a first ballot. And I had the opportunity to play with a couple guys who are probably first ballot Hall of Famers, and you can tell why. It's just that preparation, more than the physical talent, it was the way he prepared every single day.
Yeah, it was it's definitely really interesting to watch him. Like I said, growing up and watching Revis, it was like Calvin Johnson, Thrello, and Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, whatever the hell he was that year.
Reggie Wayne.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, Randy Moss. He played a ton of guys and just completely shut them down. I think the guy who gave him the most problems was I think it was Stevie Johnson from the Bill. Yeah, but he was him
with quick, in or out.
Yeah,
it was all quick slant or out. It was quick.
Oh, sorry. That was something that was
man to man, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was something, and that's like a lot of the film stuff. It's really interesting to watch that because you see it a lot where it's a cat and mouse game where like even with Mims, I was watching him against Texas, me and Marcus, and you saw him use a dead leg release, at least what I call a dead leg release. And a couple of times he broke in on a slant off the dead leg later in the game, used the dead leg, guy inside leverage really hard on him because he thought he was going to the inside, beat him deep on a vertical. So like it's so interesting to watch that battle. If you're able to pick up on that stuff in film, because it's not just, okay, same thing every rep to try to beat him. Like you might set up a couple of plays where you might use power or use speed and then set up a speed to power. Like it's really interesting to watch. Like, and that's why I like NFL the most. It's the biggest chess game I think of all the sports. Plus being able to knock each other's heads off. Not like back in the day, but it's still you're still
Right.
gonna see some hits.
It's a physical. Hey, listen, everybody loves a physical brand of football. And what you said about that chess and not checkers, college may be a little bit of checkers when it comes to, because you don't have as much time to meet with the players. But NFL, I mean, you're in the meeting rooms all the time. So you're looking for those little advantages every single play of how, okay, this is what he does on first down. This is how I know it's a pass. So you're definitely always checking for those advantages.
Yeah. Now, moving into the Jets offseason, you said you kept up with them a little bit. What are your thoughts? Joe Douglas is a highly regarded GM, was a guy who was thought to come in and really is going to address the offensive line. They bring in Van Roten, who you spoke about. You played him in the CFL, actually, which I even know was really super interesting. They bring in Connor McGovern from the Broncos. They bring in Fant from the Seahawks. They bring in Mekhi Becton. So what do you think in terms of like free agency, like what they did at the offensive line position? How important do you think that is for a rookie quarterback? Because we spoke about it. Sam Darnold snapped the throw, had the lowest time in the NFL. Le'Veon Bell, who is still a great back, but when you have a great back on a bad offensive line, it's not going to be able to show a lot. It's just not. There's just no way. So how much do you think it means for both the third-year quarterback and Le'Veon Bell to upgrade the line? Because last year they were the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, man. I hope Sam Darnold sends JD some Christmas gifts because, I mean, he gave him a bunch of guys to protect him. Like I said, Van Ryan, I played against him in the CFL when he was at Toronto. He was very versatile up there, played a little bit of tackle, was able to play guard. He also plays center. So he's a guy that you may be able to move around a little bit. A lot of the – we're not saying a lot of players, but some of the guys they brought in, like we talked about earlier, they're at a point in their career where they're about to take off, right? They're kind of building. And they're, we got them at a point, that as you watch the guys now and, guys that the Jets brought in, they're on their verge of taking off. So I think JD did a great job with the offseason, brought in, protect Darnold. You have one of the best running backs, if you look at over the last couple of years in the backfield, didn't have a great year, but he still has that talent, open up holes for him to be able to use them more. So I think for the offense, I think it's going to be, because last year you saw a lot of miscommunications, guys being in the wrong spot. But now when you have that group together, they played a lot of football, and hopefully, the Jets can just keep them healthy. Because last year, we see a lot of injuries, and when you get those injuries, you don't have the depth. So now I think the guys they brought in, you're building the depth. So if something does happen, you know who's the next guy in with experience and has played the game.
Yeah, last year's a huge problem too because the Jets had some top-end talent, but they had no depth like you spoke about, and they were the most injured team in the NFL based on money on the IR. And that wasn't even including CJ Mosley, who was out the entire year and was one of the biggest cap hits and wasn't even on the IR, so they didn't count. And Mosley coming back, you saw it in the first game, first three quarters against the Bills, we shut him out. He goes out the fourth quarter. They score, 21 points, 24 points, whatever it was in a quarter.
Right.
The Jets lose that game. So getting Mosley back, getting Avery Williamson back, addressing corner, which we spoke about, potentially getting Logan Ryan, which it seems like it's going to happen. But, yeah, getting Logan Ryan, bringing in Desir, bringing back Poole as compared to last year where it was and no offense to the players, but you have Darryl Roberts. You had Tremaine Johnson, who I'll say it, I think he quit last year, and there was some evidence of that. He just gave up. And a bunch of backup guys. Now you have Ryan, who's a legit number one, number two. You have Poole, who was one of the best slot corners. You have Desir, and I think that opens up the offense so much for Greg Williams because last year we saw him really try to hide the corners and didn't really ask him to do a lot, where this year I think you'll see Greg Williams do a lot of what he was doing in the past with the Rams and run more trap defenses and more palms and more things to confuse the quarterback, where last year was a lot of just simple coverages because the corners weren't able to execute. So I think it's going to be huge. So what do you think about the defense? Like, what do they do? Or what do you think they're like what they did on the corner? What do you think about Logan Ryan coming in? What do you think that CJ Mosley means to it? Because we spoke about it before we started recording, and a lot of fans, okay, well, they don't have the outside linebacker or the corner, and a lot of people were kind of crapping on the CJ Mosley signing, but you playing in the NFL can speak about it more than anybody. What does that middle linebacker mean? Like, you had Harris communication, that whole thing. So what it means. Yeah.
I mean, the middle linebacker sets the tone for the most part for the defense. He's your signal caller. He's your communicator. He is in the middle of your defense. And, I mean, I think for at least 32 or maybe 31 of the 32 teams, he doesn't come off the field. And, last year the Jets were able to bring in CJ Mosley and not having him the whole year. You saw it especially earlier where they're trying to fill in. There's not only filling in with a guy with, the talent, but it's filling in with the experience he's got when he came over from Baltimore, who, I mean, historically has always played a aggressive, tough, physical brand of defense, which GW likes to run with his defense. So, having him back for a whole year, I think is definitely going to be great for the Jets. And then bringing in, and I know it's not done yet, but if they can bring in, a corner like Logan Ryan, he was a Rutgers guy. I know him really well. I mean, he's a versatile guy. Like you said before, he's not only a cover corner, but he comes up, he plays in the run, he can blitz. And I think GW, as you've seen him use, Adams, Logan may be a guy that they can kind of move around a little bit and use a little bit of his versatility because, you look at him over his career, he's smart, he's savvy, he's fast, he's physical, and he's played in the Patriots, which is probably one of the smarter, teams, one of the more efficient teams. And, he's a guy that he's not going to lose you the game. He's always going to be where he's supposed to be, and he's going to make those splash plays as we seen last year in the playoffs where, I mean, he got the last pick of Brady in the Patriots uniform. So, I mean, Logan, hopefully they can bring him in because I think GW, that's just another piece. And, you know how GW is as you look at the way he played last year. It's not what you can't do, but what can you do? And let's put you in spots to be productive.
Yeah, and I think they finished like 7th overall in terms of yards given up. And I don't love stats because there's things I play into every stat. Like, okay, well, they were 7th, but how much the Jets were losing big in a lot of games. They might have been running out the clock, like things like that. So overall, they were still really good with not a lot of corner talent and bringing in corner talent plus Mosley plus Avery Williamson because like last year they had Mosley out. Avery Williamson, their second string, went out. And then you had Hewitt, who went out for a couple of games. You had Blake Cashman, their 5th-round pick, went out. Like, it was crazy how many injuries they had at that communicator spot for the defense. It was interesting. But before we get into Zuniga, what do you think about the draft? I know you watch college football, bringing in Mekhi Becton, bringing in Ashton.
Ooh, that's a big boy.
Yeah, I think it's 6'7", 2 or 370 or about 370, but I think he was like 364 at the combine. So you see that guy pulling on like let's say, I don't think they're having him pulling like a lot of dart plays, but he's working to second level. What are you thinking?
a lot of defensive players be making some business decisions. Let me just get out the way. Let me cut him low. Because you're not going to run into him. I mean, he's a big boy, and he gets on you quick, and he gets on you, he's going to manhandle you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and then Mims too, which both Marcus and I, we think that he has one of the highest ceilings of receivers in the draft. Because Judy, and I love Judy. I love his route running. His route running is absolutely ridiculous. How he can keep his feet under his frame with the cuts he makes. But he seems like a Keenan Allen Diggs type. Where I think like Mims, a guy like Mims with his size, 6'3", 207, 4.38 speed. He has 33 7/8 inch arms, which is what tackles want. So and some of his route running ability too, like we talked about it last show, and I don't want to harp on it too much because I think I did like 4 hours total on Mims. But his ability to get out of cuts without clean technique is ridiculous. If he cleans up that technique, it's going to be he's going to be a ridiculous route runner. So I think he has a really high ceiling. So later on in the draft, what do you think about Mims and Davis and Zuniga? I'm sure you watch a little bit of him at least. So like, what do you think about those type of players?
I mean, Mims, like you said, with his catch radius. I mean, with those arms, I mean, he'll be able to make plays, kind of catching the ball all throughout because he's such a long guy. Davis, like, he's a raw guy, but he does have that track speed. He does have that athletic ability that you like to see from a receiver, especially the guy that you get in that position in the draft because he can do a lot of different things. And like we're going to talk about today, Zuniga. I mean, a guy that in college was very productive earlier on, got better every year, then had a tough senior year when he came back. Had a tough year, battled a lot of injuries, a lot of lower body injuries. And for a pass rusher, for a defensive lineman that you rely on getting off the ball, you rely on your legs, you rely on being able to bend. Having ankle injuries is probably one of the worst things to have as a defensive lineman because that compromises your get off, that compromises your bend, that compromises the way you hold the point on a run play because that ankle is so taped up that you can't bend like you used to.
You don't have that. I always talk about ankle flexibility when you have that tape.
Listen, man, ankle flexibility, I think for a pass rusher is so important. I remember I had a high ankle sprain my second year with the Jets against the Miami Dolphins. I think it was like a Monday night. And that killed me for the whole year because I couldn't get in my stance. I couldn't get off the ball. So you would get off, but you're getting off straight. And that runs through your knee, that runs through your hip, and everything starts to hurt more. So hopefully Zuniga, he's healthy now and coming into this season. I think if he comes in healthy, hopefully he can get back to the 2018 Zuniga. He had a pretty good year in 2018.
Yeah, we're gonna watch. Like I said, we have. I don't have any all 22 of him. Of course, the games I had of Florida was the games that he was injured. So we're gonna watch broadcast angle, which I
Okay.
said I think it's the easiest position to evaluate broadcast angle. Like trying to evaluate a center or a guard at
Right.
broadcast angle is like ridiculously hard, or corners or things like that. So we're gonna watch some plays of him. And it's funny you talk about ankle flexibility. It's like a running joke. I always talk about ankle flexibility. And when I put up the picture of me proposing to my now fiance, it was, oh, look at your ankle flexibility and all that stuff. So it's a running joke, but I think it's really important too. So to go over some of his strengths and weaknesses and his measurables and things like that before we get into the film, 6'3", 258, which you said is like pretty similar size to you. 32 and 7/8 inch arms. 4'6", 40, 33-inch vert, 29 bench press, which is pretty damn good. 127-inch broad. Strengths and weaknesses that I listed, and we'll talk about a lot of them going through his film. I put explosive, burst off snap, hand placement, power in hand. So showed some effective rips, clubs, swipes, bull rushes, and jerks. Could be a big asset in run defense. Power to play inside in certain pass rush situations. Power to go against interior linemen. Will blow up guys and stand them up off ball. Showed ability to play with good leverage off the snap. Played all over line at Florida. Speed to power ability, straight line speed, plays hard, overall strength and power. I wish I had more. That I had a limited list right there because of the limited film I was able to say. Weaknesses: snap timing is inconsistent, lacks consistent pass rush plan, needs to add diversity to pass rush move setups, needs to develop counters, tight hips, lacks flexibility, doesn't offer much bend, short arms or shorter arms. Tackle radius, will have trouble in backfield against elusive quarterbacks, running backs, loses balance when cornering. It needs to set up angles better, needs to learn how to bull rush with full power activated, lacks lateral quickness, lacks change of direction skill, needs to defeat hands more consistently, and has had some injuries. Before we get into the film, I want to ask about that in terms of his lack of bend. We're going to show it a little bit. Is there any? And I honestly, I'm kind of asking a question I think I know the answer to, because I don't think there's really a really good way to develop a ton of bend. Because you see a lot of guys who come in with a lack of bend. You don't really see it develop a lot. Like Javian Clowney's explosive player, but doesn't have a lot of bend. Terrell Suggs was a Hall of Fame type guy,
Right.
didn't have a lot of bend. Is there any way to develop bend, like at least a little bit, from your experience?
But like we talked about, I mean, he was injured his senior year, so you couldn't
Mhm.
see that true bend because he didn't have his true strength. So I think you could develop bend in lower body strength, lower body flexibility to be able to, be strong in your lower body, but also be functional. It's not just about being powerful, but be able to move fluidly. And so I think with him being healthier, you would see a better bend in the senior year because you would expect that year for him to be the strongest he's ever been, to know the defense the best he's ever known it,
Mhm.
and to have the best, and if he was healthy, you would see everything come together. But so I don't know if it's developing I mean, he'll get better as a pass rusher with with the
Yeah.
D line coach, working with him. But I think it's more setting up his pass rushes and knowing when he has to bend and what is he looking to do in different rushes in different situations throughout the game.
Yeah, and our first two games, I think we have Tennessee and another game from 18, and we have two games in 19. So we have two games of each season. Top of the screen right here, and Jamal, I'll run through the plays like quickly, and then get
Okay.
your opinion. I don't want to give you a fresh play, and you've never seen him before, or maybe you have, maybe you haven't. The one thing I think he does, I think the one thing that he does offer, he's a really good edge setter, and he's powerful. Now here he's a little bit late off the snap. I think that was a problem more in 18 than it was in 19. I do like his leverage for sure. He gets under the pads. He gets his hands inside. He extends. I like the right arm extension right there to keep his chest clean. He's still holding that edge, and then his eyes are inside at the running back, peeking inside right there, or peeking actually
See,
to the left side
see,
of the left tackle.
in
Okay.
this right here, I would like them to have better shoulders to be square to the ball carrier. Because sometimes when you get your chest going down the line of scrimmage like that, that ball carrier with the duck outside, you're not going to be able to redirect. Like he's talked about his
Mm-hmm.
lateral quickness, you're not going to be able to redirect to make the play on an outside sweep or a stretch play. So I would like him to be a
Okay.
little bit square. So when he's coming back, to be able to fall off with an arm over into that V gap.
Yeah, you're talking about in terms of him being able to open his hips to the outside right here. At this position, it's really hard. So you'd like to see him be more square to the line of scrimmage so he could play either side. Now he
Because
is.
the backs in the NFL have more ability than these college backs. So the back in the NFL to get right there and pop it back outside. So you really got to make sure you set that edge and force everything inside to the inside guys, because you let that running back out in the open field, and now you have DBs trying to tackle him instead of linebackers.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Something that people don't really think about, but staying square while you're stacking it is important. I didn't even think about that before we even started talking about it. So that's definitely a great point. He is able to shed and get on the tackle, but it's something to note because a lot of things that you see, and I saw with like a lot of film, is you'll see stuff that's successful in college football, but you want to evaluate them, taking that step up to the next level. So let's say if a release that doesn't really manipulate the hips or create false steps works in college football for Mims because of his size and speed, corners in the NFL will be able to shuffle, stay over top, get their hands on. So you want to kind of project as how it would work in the NFL. So that's definitely something that's important. I'm going to play it on the bottom. He's on the bottom of the screen right here. The one thing that I noticed, for him, I think he needs to develop a more consistent plan. There's some times where he kind of just concedes his rush and tries to get into the guy. Where listen, like for me, if he was to attack more up the arc right here and get this guy to really open up his hips, so the tackle's power was going, in this direction as you're seeing my mouse, and then he could bull rush through him, I'd be more okay with this. But here he doesn't really set up his angles well. And he kind of just concedes his rush. I don't know if you see the same thing there, where you like to see his angle set up a little bit better.
Yeah, I think Zuniga needs to do a better job in this rep right here, attacking the tackle set line, right? Attacking the tackle set line and seeing if it's a softer set where the tackle's going back, where you turn it into, he's not a super long guy, he doesn't have super length, but he can turn it into a long arm or a bull rush if the tackle's going back. Or you attack that set line and you're on the tackle, you're closing the distance faster, and you're forcing the tackle to react. And then I think a good move for Zuniga is going to be, and he's going to develop, is the side scissors, where you don't have super length, but you can get into the tackle quick, force him in this position, as you can see right here, to throw his hands, hit him with the side scissors, and be able to bend and come around the corner to the quarterback. So I think he just has to do a better job of closing, to have great vision to see to close the distance on the tackle, to see that set line. And if you attack the set line, the tackle has to do two things. He has to attack you with a quick set, or he's going to keep sinking with a soft set, and then you can run him with the bull.
Yeah, and the thing with this too is like if you are going to bull, I have to see him set up his angles a little bit better, because you see a lot of guys who are successful in the NFL really rush up that arc, get the guy to, like I said, open his hips up, and then you have a more exposed chest. But here, the tackle doesn't even, his technique's not even really great. You see him leaning into that block a lot and shooting his hands, at least defeat the hands, in my opinion. So he gets shut down there with that rush. And I think, like I said, he just wants to kind of be more consistent in terms of setting up his rush or attacking angles. Like that was kind of it's like a vertical 45-degree set. Like it was in the middle of both of them. Okay, so let's see this one. Bottom. This is the one play I brought up before we even started recording. But this long arm here, what I'm seeing, and I want you to talk about it obviously more than I'm talking about it. You have more experience than I do, clearly. I don't really think he sets up this long arm very well in terms of like activating his full power. So what are you seeing on this play on the bottom from Zuniga?
Actually, I thought the get off was good. He had a great job getting the tackle to turn now. I think with the long arm, he put it in there, but he didn't attack that inside pad. And I like to attack the inside pad on the long arm, because it makes that tackle lift that inside foot. But right here, I think what he's seeing is he doesn't want to be a fly-by rusher, which means you're flying by the quarterback, and now the defense is only playing with 10. So he's really trying to turn back into the quarterback. And I don't think it's a bad rush. I just think he has to get bend a little bit more when he hits the long arm, and to be able to lift him with that inside pad to really push him by the quarterback and not fly back and fall back underneath.
Yeah. Now with the long arm, I don't know. Are you taught this in the NFL level, even at college level, where when you're getting that long arm in and you're placing it, do you want to see his hips and his body more engaged under that long arm? Because when you're square, you're not really taking advantage of the leverage. Like a lot of long arms that I see, it's a lot more of the arm extended, and you're kind of working up through those hips and up through that instep of the outside foot. So do you think that's true, or do you see his body well set up for this?
Right here, as you can see, when you want a long arm, you want your hand above your eyes. As we can see right here, he's a little high. He's standing straight up, so he's not generating all his power. He's probably only playing with 60% of his power. If he was to bend a little bit more in his hips, and when he was to attack, explode through that inside pad with a long arm, he'll bring all the way his power to be a nice straight angle from his feet all the way through his hips and his thighs through that arm. Right here, he's a little high, so he's more of trying to run him. And then at the end, you see him try to really hump him by right here. So he tries to hump him by and get in on the quarterback. So it's not a bad rush because what do you see from the quarterback? He's in that pocket. He's in that hole. So there's nowhere really for him to go. So it's not a bad rush. But I think once he bends a little bit, learns more of the NFL pass rush system of how good the tackles are and how you have to be on point every rush, I think his long arm is going to improve because being a guy that's, that has some quickness off the edge. If you can turn that quickness where the tackle has to get out into speed, into power, I think it's going to be an effective move for him.
Yeah, and I think just based on his, like I said, his 4.6 40, and he definitely has that burst. I think he can, get those tackles to really open up their hips and panic a little bit, trying to get to the outside if they're not the fleetest of foot. So he'll be able to take advantage of that speed to power for sure, especially for a guy who might not be able to necessarily bend as well as some other guys in terms of cornering. So I think his speed to power is going to be pretty effective in the NFL if he just learns how to set it up a little bit better. Because again, for like that rep, like being a little bit more square to the tackle for me and extending, you're not getting that full power as if you were to extend that arm and be straight and be under him. So a lot of bull rushes, like you said, or long arms, say bull rush, like you said, it's above your eyes and you really are under that arm instead of being more square. You're not activating the full power of your body behind it. Like where I talk about like offensive linemen working with their insteps, where you don't want to be straight, like giving the leg like that natural lever point where you could push against that natural lever point where you really want to work against with the insteps because you just want to break the leg. So it's all about technique and leverage and understanding body mechanics in terms of really every position in the NFL, but especially guys in the trenches. It's really about leverage and understanding how your body works. So
leverage, angles, vertical separation, better to bend, get under guys.
Yeah, for sure. So this next play, we have him right here. He's the 5 tech right there. Again, good leverage. He's underneath he's winning the leverage battle. He gets his hands inside right here. And he just pushes into the backfield and he's able to make get the tackle for loss. I can't see exactly what the run play is, whether it be like inside zone, tight zone. I don't have the angle to really, I'm not going to evaluate that. It's not a huge deal. But what do you see from this play from Zuniga right here?
I mean, I like his get off. I like that he extends and he's playing in the backfield. He's getting vertical through the gap. I would like to see him do a better job in his block construction, right? So in college football, sometimes, all the linemen aren't going to hold you and grab you. So you can kind of just drop your arms and come off and make the tackle. When you get to the pros, I mean, you're playing with the best of the best. So they're going to hold you and you can't just get off. So you're going to have to get off with a rip, an arm over. You're going to have to do something to defeat their hands when they're engaged with you, when you're engaged with an offensive lineman. So I would like to see him do a better job of, and that's things that you learn and you develop to defeat the guy's hand, not just drop your hands and run off the block because you're going to get held and then they're just going to run you down the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so you'd like to see almost like a cross chop or something right there to defeat that arm.
I've always been partial to the arm over. I think it keeps your, if you do it quick, it keeps your pads low. And all it does is work. I remember Rex and Mike Patton always used to say that, hey, arm over. I'm like, all right. He's like, all it does is work. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I like that move when you're coming off a block, right here. So don't just walk off the block. Be able to, beat the block and shed the block.
It's an interesting blocking scheme for Tennessee. It looks like I said, maybe a tight zone, inside zone. My only really difference for those plays is usually the aiming point, the track of the running back. But on an inside handoff to lay the backside edge or emaul on block is a little bit strange to me. But they're able to make the tackle for loss on the running back.
They brought some pressure too with their nickel out there, number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So then that backside guy can go right. They're probably expecting somebody to hold up for the quarterback and maybe hold him for a second so the running back can hit downhill.
So let's see the next one. He is going to be on the top of the screen right here. I do like his hand placement in terms of like coming off the ball and getting his hands inside. Maybe you like to see him explode a little bit more into the chest right there to create some more force. It is a little bit passive, even if you are just like you're looking to stack and shed. I think more explosion into the chest would be a little bit better here.
Yeah, more speed to lock. You know, we call it speed to lock, right? So you want to get off the ball and you want your hands really from the ground right into his chest. He kind of brought his hands to himself and then he punched out. So I think as he develops, and you have to be a lot quicker with your hands in the pro game, because the offensive linemen, they're quick to get on you when it's a run play. So more speed to lock rather than just kind of put it out there. But he has good placement where his hands, it seems like his hands are tight, his thumbs up or his elbows are together. So he's doing a good job with that. And
yeah,
great recognition right here with the blocking scheme. He felt like the tackle was trying to hinge block him, step down, then kind of wheel him out. And he kind of came off quick, but like I said before, he kind of just drops his hands and runs off of the block. So I would like to see some sort of arm over move, some sort of block disruption where you really beat the offensive tackle's hands, because you're not going to be able to just drop your hands in the next level.
Yeah, I'm not sure how powerful this left tackle is, but a good job. He tries to use like that circular force, that torque to get him outside, and it doesn't look like it really affects him. So that's like some good natural power, at least. But I agree with you in terms of like, obviously, it is him really exploding through the ground, because he's really using like half of his power right here, where it's really a lot of his upper body right here. He's not really acting a lot from his lower body. Whereas if he was just to explode right through that, in more of a straight line, instead of coming, up and then through, you wanted to see him straight line right through that guy. And like you said straight to locker.
Speed to lock, right? So
lock.
The biggest thing is you got to lock your hand, like get them off you, right? So off the ground, especially from with your hand in the dirt, be able to go off the ground right into his chest rather than up to yourself and then extend.
Yeah. Okay. So next play, play number 6. Let's see what this one is. Lack. I said lack plan here. So let's see. Bottom. He's the wide 5. That's at least what I call him right there. Wide 5. So it's kind of similar. And this is a quick pass set. So I'm not sure if he's. I wouldn't even say he really saw him throwing the ball quickly, because that wasn't necessarily the case. But what do you see on this play? Because again, I don't really see him. Like, you see a lot of guys speed to power. Like, okay, I said it before, get your hips really working outside here on that 3rd, 4th step, whatever it may be, depending on the set of the tackle, really turn your hips and work through the guy. But here, I don't really see him threatening with his speed at all. And he kind of, again, just sticks his hands into him with no real like true plan to defeat the hands or go speed to power.
I would like to see him have a better stance, to be first. I mean, it's 2nd and 13 right here, so you're expecting you're probably expecting a pass. Mm-hmm. So I would like to see him watching some clips of him before. I think he needs a better, pass rush stance. From his stance and the 3-point stance, he's been in so many different stances that I've seen that I don't think he has a real, natural pass rush stance. So hopefully, the D-line coach can get with him and get in a better stance. But great get off the ball right here. I think he just has to realize right there as the tackle opens, you got to rush that set line. So you have to turn it into to power, which he tries to do. But like you said, that bend in the lower body, he's so perpendicular right now. All he can do is really bull rush. He's not hitting them with a good enough angle.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. He, again, like, I just don't think he does have a good explosion, but if he were to threaten this guy a little bit more outside, I think you get this guy even more off balance than he is. When he throws his hands, and get him to panic a little bit, and then really, like I said, just off that 3rd, 4th step, really turn it inside and just bull right through him, get really good leverage and get under his pads and just throw him right back into the quarterback's, right in front of the quarterback. But he kind of has his hips squared him the entire time, so he's not threatening too much, even though he does have that good explosion. So I think he could even kind of take advantage of his explosion a little bit more than he does, going to the next level, and he'll learn that, I believe.
Yeah, he'll definitely learn that, because, in the NFL, you just have more time to work with the players, right? You have more practice time. He's going to have a guy that just practices with him with pass rush, a guy that just a get-off guy. So he's going to have more time to improve his game than he did at college, especially senior year playing with so many injuries. Yeah,
and here it doesn't look like it's supposed to be like a radar-type defense where everybody's standing up. It just looks like they're a little bit late to whatever their call is, whatever their defensive call is, they're a little bit late. And LSU, I don't know if it was a hurry up situation.
Tempo. Right. Yeah. College nowadays, everybody's a tempo offense. So they probably call it a late call coming from their defensive signal caller.
So he's on the bottom right there, standing up. And I like that, even though he's not ready at the snap, might be like running like a mid zone right here, outside zone. And I do like that he gets his hands inside again. And I like that once he engages, he does work off the instep of that back foot to hold up a little bit. So he understands that at least, and he's able to kind of if you want to call it a push pull or a jerk, gets his hands on and jerks him by him. And then some of the things that I've seen with his game is he does lack like that like short area like explosion in terms of like his tackle radius. There's a lot of situations where if guys change their angles, change their tracks, he's not able to tackle them, both because of shorter arms and like I said, some of that bend and just like athleticism. So what are you seeing from this play, Jamaal?
I think what you said is exactly correct. He did use his hands to get off the block. Great job of, not just running to the sideline thinking about setting the edge, but you're not reached until the ball is outside of you. So he saw that he was in phase with the ball, able to fall back inside off of this tackle. And you would like to see him come off again with, he's kind of just dropping his hand. I think if he would have come off with an arm over, that would have allowed him to make this tackle a lot easier.
Yeah, and
when you come off a block with an arm over, what it does is it naturally brings your pads low, so you're in a tackling position.
Yeah, and the only issue, and especially the arm over is all about timing, because the weakness with that rush is that you're exposing your armpit. But if you can time it well, it's super effective. And I think that a lot of people, I don't know if you differentiate the swims and arm overs, because I call them arm overs too, because a lot of people anytime they look like they're doing an arm over, they just call it swim. A true like swim for me is defeating the hands and then pulling your arm over through, where an arm over is just that arm over. We can call it a club arm over, but like a swim is a little bit different from an arm over. I don't know if you do.
In the run game, how I think about an arm over is you have your tackle, you're locking him out. You're locking him out. He's trying to reach you. You're locking him out. And then when you realize the ball is cutting back inside of you into that B gap, you're just taking, say I'm the left end, I'm just taking my left arm, bringing it right over the tackle's arm on me, right over my arm, and defeating his hand and falling back into the B gap, right? So you're not going to come off completely clean, but you're coming off to do what? To make the tackle in the B gap. So you're setting the edge, you're being in phase with the ball and falling back to be able to make the tackle. He probably would have made that tackle for TFL if he would have had a better block disruptor.
All right, next play. I have him. I don't know. Let's see where he is here.
Right there, bottom left.
Yeah.
Left end.
Yeah. So he's like he's like a 5-tech again. Again, this is a better play, I think, in terms of him exploding through the ground and into his hands, like you said, where he's really working into the chest pretty quickly of the offensive lineman. Maybe his angle could be a little bit better, where it looks like he's exploding a little higher than he is really through him. So maybe he can explode a little bit higher, but he is able to get his hands on and jerk him almost into an arm over, not necessarily into the arm over, but the tight end comes. I don't know if the tight end didn't do a good job right there if he's supposed to assist on that, but regardless, he's able to get his hands on, slip past that. He drops his hips, work past both those guys, and he's able to get in on tackle at the end.
I mean, they're doubling up. So is that the guard? It's
the right tackle and the
right tackle and that 44 and that jack fullback tight end. They're kind of doubling up to him coming off to the linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did Actually, he was supposed to stay in between them. He kind of got behind them, but he did a good job of upper body flexibility, be able to kind of move his body and come back and try to get up on the play. Trying to see a little better here.
Yeah, that tight end though, it's kind of I guess he was like, he's the high leg and he's the postman where he's trying to overtake the block, but he doesn't really do a great job really truly engaging him, because like you said, he works his hips and his angles and he's able to get underneath of that block. And then he's able to get on tackle. So I think that was a solid play from Zuniga right there.
The one thing I like, though, even with the double team, and actually he probably was out of his gap, but he's probably was to split him. But what did he do? He kept pursuing down the line of scrimmage, and that's one of the things I've saw with, I've seen with him, in 2019 and some of the games that I watched and some of the film, that he does a good job down the line of scrimmage, keep working, and he gets in on some tackles where, you see in some defensive ends not kind of chase down the line of scrimmage, not keep working towards the ball. So he does get in on some tackles that he probably, other guys probably wouldn't have made.
Yeah, so this play, there's not really much there's not really much to break down here. I just like to see guys get blown up sometimes. So he comes off the ball in the bottom. He is looks like they're bringing an extra. No, they don't bring an extra tackle. I'm sorry. So he's like a 4-eye, at least what I call him, a 4-eye right here. Comes off the ball again, maybe a split second late. You could see some of his snap timing, especially in 2018, was a little bit lacking. But he's able to work his angles a little bit. He presses inside right here, and he's able to beat him with like a swipe. And then he sees the running back coming to that edge to fill, and he's able to just truck over the running back and get into the quarterback's face right there.
Yeah, I definitely like that. We used to call it when I was with the Jets. If you ever matched up one-on-one with a running back, it was beat him or – well, I ain't going to say what was the second word. It was beat him or break him, right? So it was basically you beat him quickly with a quick move, or you drop your pad level, you get up under his helmet, and you knock him back into the quarterback to make the quarterback uncomfortable. I think Zuniga did a good job here recognizing the offensive lineman sliding away and not only just rushing right into the offensive lineman, but working his hands back into the open gap and seeing the running back. And, this shows a lot of football IQ that you see the running back and he realizes that, you know what, they were sliding away. The running back has me one-on-one. I'm a bigger guy than him. Let me just drop my pads, get up under him. The running back stops his feet. Let's run him into the quarterback because, as we see, quarterbacks hate guys at their legs, hate guys in front of them. So I think he did a good job right here of recognizing the offensive lineman set, recognizes the slide protection, and to be able to trigger at the second of I'm one-on-one with the running back. Let me go get it.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, he's filling in for that slide protection. You have the whole line sliding to their left, shuffling to their left. I know some people call it slide protection and gap protection. Some people say it's shuffling in your gap protection because some people say slide protection. Right. It's okay. Right. The left tackle and the left guard sliding to the like man blocking. So whatever you want to call it. But you can see, like you said, with quarterbacks, he's not able to really step through that throw, and he ends up ripping that ball. He rips the ball, and you can see it clearly affects him. Now it's an overthrow because now he's overcompensating with that arm.
Exactly. Because, I mean, just this much off, right? This much where he can't step into it in the backfield is, an inch in the backfield is a foot in the field, right? So just that inch he couldn't step into it, that makes the ball, sail over the receiver's head.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because like that's one of the things you learn with quarterbacks. Like you'd think, okay, they're not able to generate their full power for their lower body. You think it'd be an underthrow, but what actually ends up happening is they overcompensate with their arm, and it's usually overthrows. And that's exactly what happens right here.
And another good thing right here is being in the red zone. This is a situation that Zuniga, I'm not sure how they coach it there, but this is a situation that he can see that he knows there's not a lot of field, for the quarterback to throw down the field. So whatever your rush has to be, it has to be a direct rush at the quarterback because he's not going to sit back there because he doesn't have 40 yards of field. So
you have shorter route concepts.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So next play, he's on the bottom right here, 5 tech. So he's not able to. He does get the face mask call here, unfortunately. But again, I think it's a little bit better than that lad like a couple reps ago where we saw where he's exploding to the ground into his hands.
And he's a tight 5 here, right? So he's a tight 5 technique right here. Not really in space. He got to split that yo tight ends, right? So he's a little bit tighter, playing in that run game. But I think he does a good job of his hands. You'd like to see a better knockback. But does a great job of getting off the block and finding the running back.
Yeah, and I like the extension right here too. Really keeping the guy off of his body right there and extending and then pulling down and working through that right there and then finding the running back. You'd obviously like to see him bring the running back down without the face mask. But that stuff happens. It's not. You
never get mad at effort penalties when it comes to that. I mean, he's not grabbing for the face mask. I mean, he wants to tackle too, right? So he's not doing it on purpose, but it's just playing with a lot of effort, coming off a block. I mean, as defensive linemen, guys that play in the trenches, that happens. That tends to happen. But like I said again, I just want to see a better arm over, a better block disruption for him. He does a lot of dropping his hands, just running at the ball. And I think if he really learns to defeat the blocker first, he's going to allow him to make more plays.
Okay, so we have him here. At least it looks like a 4-eye to me right here. And this is just I'll play in full speed because I marked this bad O-line, but explosion because I don't know of any blocking schemes unless it's like supposed to be like a trap or a wham or something like that. We're going to let a guy through like that, but it looks like the left tackle expected the left guard to pick him up, and the left guard looked like the left tackle. And Zuniga was just able to explode and make the tackle in the backfield.
Hey, man, listen, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, right? All they say is, listen, if you're coming through free, don't miss the layup. Go get you a TFL, go have you a good day. Don't miss the layup. But, yeah, great job exploding off the ball. Coming free, just working up the field. I mean, kind of the play was set up for him, but he didn't stop his feet, didn't break down, just went and attacked.
Yeah, and like I said, he might not be the most loose athlete in terms of like hips and stuff like that, but in terms of like straight line explosion, he definitely has it.
Plays with a lot of effort also.
Yeah, which is something you like to see. And I don't know if you feel the same way about this that I do. I put up plays on Twitter, wherever it may be, and I'll put up plays of even receivers blocking. And a lot of people, oh, well, receivers blocking, like who cares about that? One, it does matter if they break it to the sideline. You block your guy extra 10 yards, 5 yards, touchdown, whatever. But what it really shows to me is the effort and the want to and the dedication to the team. So effort's a big thing for me, especially, watching guys in college. Like, you should want it more than you've ever wanted it at college to get to that next level. So effort plays, chase downs, things like that really matter to me when I'm watching film of a guy.
Yeah, definitely when, in my past, whenever a coach puts up an effort play, it could be a receiver blocking downfield. It could be an offensive lineman, chasing downfield and maybe getting on a fumble. That raises the level in the locker room because that's what the standard is, right? And when you keep seeing those effort plays from, like you said, your number one receiver is blocking his ass off downfield, or a guy, gets cut, gets back up, tries to get in on a tackle, I think that just improves your whole unit and improves your whole team because it shows that, once you can do it once, you can do it every time, right? So it shows the standard of play.
Yeah, so this play is another one where it's not really – I don't really see anything too great right here. It looks like based on his – you have the corner coming in on this, a cat blitz. Ends up being like a inside zone split right here. And LSU does not do a good job of blocking really anybody right here. That's not what you want to see. You want to see the first level block before you work to the second level. At least from what I've learned. I don't know about blocking.
Yeah. I don't know I don't know what kind of.
But
listen, hey, put it in, right? I mean, it worked for them, right?
So you have him as like the force player blitz, and he is just exchanging right here. He's going to work through the, he's lined up in the C gap, works into the B gap, but he still is able to explode into the backfield. Now with this, what are you seeing from this tackle? Because he does have a tendency when he's rushing hard into the backfield to miss tackles. Like I said, his tackle radius is a little bit lacking, and his short area, like change of direction, sometimes is a little bit lacking. So what are you seeing from him here in this missed tackle?
I think as he came inside, when he came in the backfield, he ended up being too high. He wasn't able to change direction because he was standing straight up, maybe a little bit of that stiffness in the lower body. But, as a defensive lineman, you're kind of always want to shoot your gun, right? They always say take the shot because you have that corner blitzing behind him. So you took your shot, got him on the ground, but you would like to see him come in the backfield with a little lower pass to be able to make the tackle now if the play was going away from him and he had to really chase the ball down the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think I noted that when I put this play, like he's coming up a little bit high, and in my opinion, like too, like his steps are a little bit big right here. Where he's really like hopping into that tackle, and when you start to hop, that hop right here, it really limits you in terms of you being able to change direction quickly when you're taking your feet off the ground and you're high like that. So you maybe.
But I'll tell you one thing, though. I think sometimes when you go unblocked, he was making that move, and I guarantee in practice they didn't draw it up where you weren't going to be blocked. So sometimes you come in the backfield and you're expecting, I'm going to jump and go get him right now or get to the quarterback. And, sometimes it's harder to make the play when you're unblocked because it's kind of a weird feeling where you're coming in the backfield, nobody's on you, like, what's going on? Is it the trap? Is it you're thinking everything, and then the ball is there, you're just trying to jump on it.
Yeah, you're looking for like a wham block or something like that. Yeah, so.
Like, wait a minute, I got the invisible coat on. Wait a minute, and then somebody hits you in the side of your head. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. I got you, Fanica. Okay, no problem.
So here, I think he does a really good job right here. Again, he looks like he's like a 4-eye right here, and comes off the ball again. Like maybe he comes up a little bit high, where like you like to see him be maybe a little bit more linear here instead of bending from the hips a little bit. But he's able to get his hands inside, and he does his job right here. Like even if he wasn't to make this tackle, eating up 2 blocks, 1 for 2, 2 for 1, I think is a good job by really anybody. But he is able to get his hands on both guys. He is able to shuffle down the line of scrimmage as he's reading the running back's track, work outside. He pulls the this is the left tackle. Let me see if it. Yeah, so you have the left tackle. He pulls the left tackle down. He's able to then manipulate his hips, get outside, throw his hand into there, work his hips over top of those guys, and he gets in on a tackle. Yeah, the running back gets the first down, but I think that was a good job by him overall.
I don't know, man, because, as a defensive lineman, you never want your hands on 2 different linemen because you won't be able to push them back. So I think if you were to keep his hands on the tackle right here, he'll do a better job of putting all his force through the tackle and maybe not getting knocked off the ball as much. But like you said, his ability to kind of stay on his feet, keep moving, keep working down the line of scrimmage, that's an important trait, especially for a guy that, coming in the league, as a 3 down, as a hand in a dirt guy where they're talking about maybe being able to play a little bit outside backer. I think in his future, if, maybe he's not the pass rush, specialist or genius that everybody thinks that he can become, he's the guy that may be able to put on a couple of pounds and play really that 5 technique, 4-eye, jump inside on 3rd down, maybe be a 3 technique pass rusher, because he does play with a lot of energy. But I would like to see him here have both his hands on that tackle, and maybe he wouldn't get knocked off the ball as much because he's splitting his power now between 2 guys rather than having it focus on one individual.
Would you like to see that this backer right here too, like shoot his shot a little bit earlier?
Oh yeah, you got to go, man. It's 2nd and 3. You got to go. You got to get going.
Yeah, especially when you see this and you see the track of the running back and this B, well, it's actually, I guess it's actually the A gap, right? So you have the A gap. The A gap is open and the running back's track is coming into that direction. So I like to see him shoot right here, whoever that. I don't know who that is though, but
I'm not quite sure his technique, right? It's different. If he was a 5 technique, Zuniga, maybe he was setting the edge. He could have been a 5 technique where if he's getting a reach block, he goes inside into that B gap. So I'm not exactly sure. Sometimes when you watch the film, it can be a little technique flaw where he was a 5 here. And if run is at him, maybe he goes in the B gap and maybe he saw that, okay, the back kept going outside and maybe he was going to go back outside. But I just like to see him have his hands more on that tackle. I think if he would have put all his energy through that tackle, he would be able to knock him back, especially being a guy that's not a super long, doesn't have great length. You got to sometimes attack your spot, right? You can't be splitting spots.
Yeah, you want to worry about defeating one guy before you start worrying about defeating 2. And like you said, generating 50% of power to 2 guys, it's not going to do a lot. So here, top of the screen. Oh, not top of the screen actually. So he looks like he's the 4-eye again, loose 3, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he's a loose 3 technique right here. So get off right here. I mean, first guy off the ball needs to do a better job of gaining ground on that first step. Yeah, I think he needs to eat up the ground a little bit more.
Yeah, you really want to see him work into that B gap quicker. I do like that he is able to duck his shoulder right there to reduce that contact window into his chest and throw a rip underneath at least.
Your good upper body flexibility to be able to turn. Right here, I don't like that right arm out there. Try to break that left hand of 73. Try to get it off of his neck would allow him to clear himself a little bit more and be able to chase down that Burrow, to be able to chase down Burrow right there.
Yeah, so you'd like to see him probably try to defeat that elbow.
Yeah, just defeat the elbow. I mean, just lift the hand off him, get it off him. But, the thing with it, he'll learn those techniques. He'll continue to improve because at the next level, that guard is going to sit down and clamp on you. So you really have to defeat the hands.
Yeah, especially some of the guards in the NFL with that hand strength they have. You're not going anywhere once they get locked in like that, especially once you're tight too. And once you're tighter, like a lot of people, receivers, linemen are taught to keep guys tighter because when you have a guy tight under the chest plate,
can't see the hold.
Can't see the holding. You don't see that herky jerky extension. That's when you get called. So when you have a guy tight, you could grab him. It's a holding play. Like they're going to get held.
And he's not a 290-pound inside rusher, so he has to play with better technique, use his quickness, use his angles. So he has to use everything. But swarm to the ball. He's chased. He brought a lot of effort. Just work that hand out. Maybe he'd have been able to get there a second faster.
Okay, so we have him. Looks like he's the wide 5. Some people will use imaginary guys and say 7 or 9. I don't really
loose 5. Yeah, wide rusher.
I don't care.
I mean, 3rd and 6. It's 3rd and 6, right? Wide rusher, go get the quarterback.
Yeah, some people they go crazy about it. Like you can call them whatever, wide 5, 7, 9, whatever. I don't go crazy about stupid stuff like that. Like call him a wide 5. All right, so he's not even a wide 5. That's not even him. So we're not even talking about the right guy here. So he is
3 technique up top.
Yeah, he looks like the 3. He's the looks like he's the 3 tech. Yep. So okay, so that's him. So he is the 3 tech. And again, he could be, if you want to call him a tight 3 tech, whatever it may be.
3 tech up top.
So I like that, at least that he's getting into the guy and he looks like he jerks him into a rip. So like a jerk rip right there. Now maybe you'd like to see his arm be a little bit tighter. Instead of like he's working on the forearm rips, you want to have him the tighter the better. He's
better pad level. I think if he would have came off a little bit lower, but I think he did a good job here of turning his hips to the quarterback and running his feet. Right when that guard got on him, remember he's only 260-something pounds. When that guard got on him, he kept running his feet to the quarterback. You would like to see him attack that arm a little bit, get that sack fumble out though. Especially nowadays in the NFL where you can't even touch a quarterback. So just be able to attack that arm similar to, You know, what we saw last year, Pittsburgh versus the Jets at the end of the play where Watt came in and attacked the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see your guys doing that now because you don't want any penalties and you want to kind of take the ball away from the offense and give your offense a chance.
Yeah, he has some interesting traits though, for sure. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be like a Von Miller in terms of like bending and stuff like that. But I think he projects as a guy who could be like a, you know, at his ceiling, like maybe a 7, 8, 9 sack guy. I don't want to just, you know, okay, this is his ceiling because there's players who are like, I'm sure people were doubting Terrell Suggs when he came out, but I think he's like a guy who's going to be able to set an edge really well, use speed to power. Like you said before, be an inside technique on some nickel downs, or you know, where they're throwing the ball, where he's going to be able to generate some pressure from the inside, where he's not really going to have to worry about stacking and shedding on a 3rd and long or something like that. So he's definitely an interesting player. We have him on the bottom right here again now because you have the tight end, the Y off, the H back, whatever you want to call him. Some people will call him a 6 or a 6I right here. What are you seeing from this rep? I'll play it.
You could say this is 2019, right?
So Virginia, let's see.
His get off looks a little bit compromised. Like he's literally getting off high, and I wonder if that's because of the injury, because he can't get that full ankle flexion, right? He can't get that shin angle to really fire off the ball.
This is 2019.
Okay, but I like this bend right here. I like how he attacks the quarterback.
So we
got to make that one.
We saw it again. Like that's what I said. Like when the quarterback's like bailing out or a running back, his tackle radius sometimes is lacking. Where a lot of guys get away from him, and I see that a lot in college football. I think it's gonna happen in the NFL. So is there any way for him to improve his like tackle radius? Because now, would you maybe like to see him because of the quarterback's angle right here? You'd like to see him attack a little bit more to his full body instead of kind of attacking shallow, where the quarterback is able to step, you know, underneath it or over top, whatever you want to call it.
No, I think you just have to make the play. This is good. You just got to make that play. I don't think there's anything you can really do to improve making the play. Okay. He came off. I think it was a good angle. The offensive lineman opened his pass. He went to power. Yep. He didn't fly by the quarterback. You just got to make the play, especially being a player to the field. You know that if the quarterback is going to scramble, he's going to scramble to the open field. So you may have to play a little safer on this side. But I think it was, I think most of his just right here, come off and get upfield and kind of keep the quarterback inside. But I do think, the rush was good. Just have to make the play. And, that can be a little bit of block disruption, coming off the block to make the play rather than just dropping your hands and trying to run off the block.
Mm-hmm. All right, next play, we play 17 of 25. He is on the top, it looks like right here. That's 92. All right, and this is something I saw too a lot. Like again, this could be the ankle injury, but I saw of him a lot of him like when he's cornering, he loses his balance and falls to the turf. I didn't put up every single play of him doing it, but I do like that he gets his right hand on. He goes for the club rip right there. He gets through. Like it. Oh, good.
I like it because he attacked the back pad. He attacked the behind the shoulder of the offensive lineman, got his hips around. Now, when you're rushing the pass and you're turning the corner, we always teach turn your toes to the quarterback. Now, with an ankle injury, I don't know which ankle it was, but that right leg is going to be the leg he's planting off of. And if he can't bend it and take his whole body weight to be able to, contort his body and dip and get to the quarterback, then what happens is your feet slide out under you because you cannot put your body in that position to be able to run. Because you can see right here, he's playing off the right foot and his feet slide out under because he can't bend that ankle. So I think that could be because of the injury. It was a very good rush, but he has to keep his feet because in the NFL, the one thing you don't like is guys on the ground. Because when you're on the ground, you're not making a play.
Yeah, I definitely like the feeding of the block, like I said, with that like the club rip. At least what I refer to it as.
Hit the round, he brought a rip. I would have liked the arm over. I think it cleans you a little bit better and makes your surface a little bit smaller with the quick arm over right here. If he would have brought it over, I think he would have brought his hips more down the line of scrimmage where he wouldn't be veering so high above the quarterback.
Good last ditch effort right there by the right tackle. Maybe not the best best block, but I think he opens his hips a little bit too early right here in terms of the tackle. You want to see him stay square right here and not give him like the full body to work against. But good job at least trying to get that left hand onto the hip and pushing him. So, right. But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder like how injured his ankle was at that point and things like that, because it does limit your ankle flexion like we were talking about before. So it's going to be harder to corner because if your ankles aren't flexible and you can't kind of disconnect your ankle from the bottom of your foot to generate that force off of the turf, it's going to be hard to corner. So he is the bottom right here. So this is another play where he's not really able to make the play on the quarterback. I do like the initial rush though, in terms of getting his hands on, and you see this the tackle really opening up that B gap a lot right here. So he gets into him and then is able to throw that inside rip. Looks like he almost like jerks him to the side and throws that inside rip, but he's not able to finish the play right here again.
Can you let it play? Yeah, let it play out. Let me, but see, again, he has to make that play, right? I mean, good get off, good move. It's a little bit high. You let him come off a little bit lower. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I like what I would say is that when he comes inside, a lot of guys, especially a younger guy, they end up running right at the quarterback. But he tries to get back vertical to keep the quarterback in the pocket, right? So I don't know if this play is after the earlier play. The earlier play, he lost the quarterback to the field. This time he came with an inside move, but really worked to get vertical to keep that QB in the pocket. So he missed the play, and he has to make that. But I like that the adjustment of, okay, I got beat to the field before he got out on me. This time I got to work to keep the quarterback in the pocket because it is rush range. He didn't make the play, but he made the play for his guys, right? And that's one thing, you would love to see him make the play. I know he's probably sick because one more sack, you never know. Next thing you know, he's a second-round pick.
Exactly.
But what he did right there, he's not going to get credit for it. But really, he made the play. He beat the guy clean. He kept the quarterback in his pocket, and all his buddies got to dance around the cube with the sack.
Yeah, and I agree too. Like he comes definitely a little bit high into the contact right here, where again he's not really generating full power from his trunk up through his upper body. But I do like the inside rip, and again, like you said, if you are going to get beat, at least make him step up into the pocket and not be able to scramble outside where these guys are going to be pursuing, right. and it opens up a lot more. If anything, get beat inside. But you do at the same time, you'd still like him to make that play.
Yeah, obviously, listen, you'll like him to make that play, but if you're a defensive coach, what do you see? A sack, loss of 5, great job. You kept him in the pocket, great pressure. And if you look at it now, I mean, college football has, a lot more quarterbacks that run around that are mobile. NFL, we got to, they're more and more, but they're not as mobile as these college guys. So he'll probably be a little bit, he'll probably won't see the speed that he's seen in college unless he plays Baltimore, much every Sunday.
Yeah. I don't think the Jets play Baltimore this year, thank God.
Well, then, hey, he don't have to worry unless he goes plays the Cardinals or something. He ain't going to see the speed that he saw consistently.
Unfortunately, they play the Cardinals. They play the Seahawks, too. So he has some quarterbacks with escapability. The Browns, too. Baker Mayfield has a little bit of escapability. So, we'll see what happens with that. But another play here, I label it as one-back power. It's not even really one-back power. It's they're pulling. It's like a power play, but they're pulling the H back, if you want to call them that. So I don't know exactly what the right tackle is doing right here. He really opens up the B gap again. You have Zuniga who gets his hands on. I'm not sure exactly. It looks like he grabs the wrist right here and just works through him and is able to make the tackle. Is it to make the tackle? Yeah, he makes a tackle for the run stuff. So what are you seeing on this play?
It looks like the tackle expecting him to jump outside. I mean, he kind of. This is a weird play, but the good thing, I think he just made the play, honestly, because I think the guy coming around that tight end was supposed to block him. Maybe it was a wham play where they're kicking him out, or it was just a busted play.
Yeah, someone was screwed up right here. It doesn't look right because if anything, like this tight end or running back, whatever he is, at this point, just adjust to this play. Like you see that guy penetrating in the backfield, just take him out. Like even if you were supposed to work up to the linebacker. Adjust. So yeah,
you see a little on the tackle right here. You see a little bit of that short area, not lack of short area quickness, but you would like to see a little bit more of it. Let's change the direction right here to be able to react on the ball. But what I like to see is that he didn't go block himself, right? He didn't just run into the tight end blocking back and just go block himself. He found a way to bend and get, to affect the game, right? And sometimes, that's just maybe he was supposed to hit that tight end, but he's like, you know what? I'm back here so fast. Let me go make a play on the running back.
Yeah, and the tackle, I don't know how he's taught with this, but if you have like a 4, I would say it's like a 4. It looks like his head's up right here, maybe like a slight 4-eye, whatever. Again, it's hard without the end zone view, but if this guy is blocking down, and you're aiming for that B gap, if anything, like I think it would make more sense for him to step through with that right foot and work that inside, the inside of Zuniga, but he kind of really, really passive and shuffles outside. So I'm not sure exactly how that was coached up right there. It looks really weird, but he's able to make the play like we talked about. So
right. And it could be a situation where they're letting him free and hoping he runs up to the quarterback and doesn't see the running back coming up underneath him, right? You do things like that where when he's always in here, he's a quarterback player, so we can hand it off, but he was able to redirect.
Okay, so this play again, there were some times where like you see him how still he is right here, where he is laid off the snap.
Yeah, you got to jump off that rock.
Yeah, so that was one of his issues with Florida, because if you let an offensive lineman gain ground on you in the NFL and you're still standing in your stance like this, you're going to get blown up. So he reduces the shoulder. He dips the shoulder. He is able to work through the left arm of the tight end right here. He's like a 6'eye, works through that, and then he's able to make the tackle, I believe. Yeah, okay, so he makes the tackle.
Yeah, he stunned it in the C gap, a little slow. He was a 6 technique, head up on that tight end, stunned it in the C gap. He did upper body flexibility, bit of turn and rip. But you just like to see him lower, get off the ball better, obviously, but come through that gap a little bit lower to be able to make the tackle, attack the ball rather than you're trying to redirect and your legs are flying everywhere.
Yeah, so he has good explosion, but you want to see like a little bit more linear, more consistently, because like even here he explodes kind of more up than through. So, but he's able to, like I said, work through that contact, and he carries that tight end right to the running back's track, and he's able to make the tackle. So you see some of the power that he has.
And I think the more time he'll have in practice is to improve his stance, right? Sometimes it's your stance, your feet are too far up under you where all your power goes up rather than, your feet are a little bit back so you can go kind of straight, hitting from low to high. So I think the more time he can get, working on his stance, being healthy and working on the way I'm going to play the run, the way I want to play the pass, he'll become a better player.
So here again, they have one back power, at least what I call one back power, and Zuniga he's not blocked, clearly. So he penetrates into the backfield now, but it's another situation where he's not able to bring down the running back. And obviously the play is made, but again, you want to see him make the play, in general.
Right. I think that the thing with this play, good job, getting off the ball, chasing their guard pulled away. So if you're a 3 technique worth of salt, that guard pulled away, you want to be, get up in there.
Shoot through that,
center's probably trying to block back on them. Great job of getting and seeing the pull, getting upfield. You would just like to see him chase the guard right now rather than running upfield. I think if he chased the guard down the line of scrimmage, he would have been able to hit this guy more solid rather than going up the field and kind of circling back to try to make the tackle from behind the running back. So right when that guard pulls and he gets past that center, he needs to flatten out and get him down the line of scrimmage to make some plays.
Yeah, and like you said, like if you have this power, like you have down, everybody's working down. So you as a center, that your left guard's gonna be working down on the one tech right here. So the center has to do a better job right here. But it looks like the good job by the nose tackle, eating up that block right there and giving Zuniga that room. But like you said, definitely let's see him work flatter instead of more vertically, then try to flatten out. You see some like a little bit of like the tightness. He is a little bit tight at times, and he's not able to make that tackle right there. But I think his ankles were a little bit off right there. So moving on to the next play, 22 out of 25, club rip. Let's see what this one is. Where is he at? Okay, so he is another like 4-4-eye.
Yeah. I played him a lot in the it's actually 4-eye 3 technique.
Yeah.
With a stand-up guy rushing.
Oh, let me play it back. Not able to make the tackle, but so he's one of the last people off the ball, but he does have good explosion. So I think if he cleans that up in terms of like his snap timing, his explosion would be more effective.
Yes, I don't know if it's snap timing. I think it's just anticipating the snap, right, and knowing when that ball moves, you have to be in a perfect stance to be able to get off. So I don't think it's you don't want to try to time it up. That's where you get a lot of offside, but just anticipate it, right? You see the offensive lineman. You see when the offensive lineman starts moving, you're ready to go.
Hey, good job.
I think he backdoored this. I think he backdoored this one. I think he was supposed to stay in that B gap.
B gap. Yeah, B gap.
And he backdoored it. I think when you backdoor, you just got to flatten out the line of scrimmage, right? Not a bad job right here. You flatten that. You know what? Not too bad right here. Backdooring it, reaching through, getting it. You just like to see him being a little bit lower.
Yeah, get another like good job. Like he likes to throw these little like swipe rips, club rips,
Mm-hmm.
and he's able to get into the backfield. So good job with that. I don't know if they were sort of like planning on wham blocking somebody or whether it be like a split play, but
Right.
yeah, good job. He's not able to make the tackle, but he clearly affects the play. So it's going to happen some where you're not necessarily making the tackle, you're not on the stat sheet, but affecting the play is obviously.
But when you get there, though, you have to make it because, like you know,
Yeah.
like we've seen in the league, you miss one tackle, next thing you know, he's in the end zone, right? So you like to see him make those plays, but great job being disruptive in the backfield.
Yeah, and that's like it's a trend, and that's why I put like his tackle radius type deal, like where he's able to finish tackles. It is lacking at times. Covers some good ground right here off his first step. Like you said, you see that explosion. Able to like cross top that outside arm. Rips through. I'm not sure if he's ripping through right here. Now you're probably gonna say you'd like to see him defeat that outside hand, right?
Yeah, I think you got to defeat the hand because you know the quarterback gonna be able to step up. I think if he would have defeat the hand, he would have been able to bend and come around a little bit better, or come off with an inside humper into that A gap, you know, for the step up lane because you never want to see your 3 technique and your wide 5 both rushing high because when it comes to rush lanes, you're opening up the whole middle of the offense.
Yeah, I got all this.
Line.
Yeah, he
But good. This is a better get off, and he's just very inconsistent with his get off. Now that can be injuries. That can be him working with different stance. Or I got this tape job today. I got to try to do this stance. Or you know, I can't be in my left hand stance because I can't push off my right foot because it's taped up. So you know, I expect to see when he gets healthy. Then you can really see, okay, who were you supposed to be as a senior? Who did they draft in the 3rd round, and what can you do? You know, going into 2020.
Yeah, another snap right here. Pretty good explosion off of the line. Let's see what he does. Another rip.
Good bend, got up under him. I mean, great, good bend right there.
He's not able to finish it.
Just got to make the play. Just got to finish it.
Yeah. So like I said, there's some issues with that, but the explosion, the ability to throw that rip right there, and he corners relatively well right here.
I mean, great run. I mean, 7 yards? Turned the corner at the right point. But to get there now, you know, you want to see. Listen, your inside guys got. Oh well, the inside guys got this. So you see a lot of the plays we're seeing is, oh, he missed the play, but everything he did allowed somebody else to make the play. So I think once he gets healthy, once he learns how to play, and you know, is he going to be an inside guy, outside guy? He's going to have to put on weight. Like the rip right here, actually not too bad. Just got to keep your feet. You see his feet slide up from under him.
As I said, like some of his ankle flexibility, kind of his like, and that's what I'm talking about right there. Like you'll see guys with that crazy bend, like their ankle working like that, but he tends to really slip up from under that.
Right. Robert Quinn is one of the best benders in the NFL, and if you watch the Almighty Quinn, his ankles back when he was with the Rams, I mean, he was like damn near parallel, like he's riding a motorcycle coming around that corner. I mean, if he kept his feet right here, this would have been a sack fumble because he looked like he's attacking the ball.
Is he wearing Air Jordans?
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna listen. You ain't gonna get me on The Last Dance. You ain't gonna get me. Michael Jordan ain't gonna come take my food. I ain't gonna say nothing.
So, yeah,
good bend right here. Good reach reached around for the ball. Just have to keep his feet. I mean, the offensive line probably pulled him down a little bit too. You know, I'm not really an offensive line guy. He looked like he kind of tugged him a little bit, so he probably should have threw a flag on him.
I'm sure you don't love offensive linemen and them getting away with a ton of holding. I'm sure. Again, so this play, there's not really a ton of breakdown right here. This is like when he does, anticipate that snap and he gets off the ball quickly. Really good. That's good burst right there for sure. Now the tackle's a little bit late coming off and he opens up immediately. But really good speed around that edge right there. And it looks like he's throws another rip and it looks like it's holding a little bit right there.
I think like you said, that he anticipated, right? What do we see here? It's 3rd and 27, right? So he knows I can jump off the rock because if it isn't offside, it's only, a short penalty, so I can be a little bit more aggressive coming out of my stand, and he was able to get in there and get a sack. I mean, I think it was a good play, good get off, gain ground. I mean, beat the tackle out, didn't keep running upfield, dipped his inside shoulder.
Yeah.
He likes to throw that rip in there, which that rip turns his hips, reaches out with that right hand.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty good right here.
Yeah, that rip acts as like that natural like pivot point where you can work around it. Where if you don't have contact, it's gonna be harder for you to bend around that corner. So, yeah, really good job right here on this play. And even you have the running back working across and evaluating his threats and tries to come in and he just explodes through him too and still able to make the tackle. So.
And
Really
that's what I like to see,
power.
man, because you've seen, at times some guys rush around the corner, the running back's there, but while the tackle's on, they kind of slow up, they try to, fake them out. But he looks like when he sees a running back, he turns it automatically into a physical, powerful game. And you always like to see that, especially from a young guy, because when you're a free runner, man, and you're in the NFL, you don't have time to dance and play with the guy. You got to go from A to B, and the quickest way is run right through somebody.
Yeah. Okay. So that's our last play. Overall, what are your thoughts before we let you go on him, and how do you think he projects to the NFL? Like, what do you think? How do you think he's gonna be used his first year? All of that type of stuff.
I like his ability to get off the ball at times. I think is very inconsistent at times. But I think I don't know if it was injury, but I think once he's healthy, you'll see that get off for real. He's a guy that looks like he can play some outside in the run situations, with his hands in the dirt, and maybe put on a little weight and bump down inside in the 3 technique for passing situations, or depending on what schemes you're playing. I would like to see him doing a little bit more of a stand-up in college. I don't think think he stood up much his last 2 seasons. I know last year he didn't stand up a lot because of injuries and stuff. So, being able to transition from, I was a hand in the dirt defensive lineman, and I had to transition to an outside linebacker. Sometimes that's a difficult thing from seeing the game from that perspective, where you're not only seeing tackles now, you're seeing the running backs, you're seeing tight ends, you're looking at, different coverages. So you would like to see him stand up a little bit. But the good thing I think with GW and going to the Jets is, that's not going to be a hindrance to him. He's not going to be expected to come in and be a polished guy right away. It's more of, we're going to be able to put you in the game, and okay, you're good at the 3 technique, we're going to rush you there. You're good at dipping your shoulder, we're going to use what you do well. And I think as you see better and better defenses and more experienced coordinators, they're looking at using guys' ability, right? Okay, we're not going to force you into a round, especially a 3rd round draft pick. You want him to, to explode. You want to see him, shine a little bit. You want to see him make plays. So hopefully they can try to use his ability, let him get a little bit free, let him rush from inside. But I think he transitions well, does a good job down the line of scrimmage. Just would like to see better block separation, block disruption when he comes off block, not just dropping his hands, kind of come off block with a move and explode better. And when he makes it into the backfield, be able to drop his pass so he can change direction. But as we see right there, he plays with some effort and plays with some physicality, which, listen, man, everybody loves a physical brand, and especially here, especially in New York with, that team, that defense, what he believes is an old school D coordinator. I think he plays with a lot of physicality when he comes to the running back, recognizing that that's the running back. There's no time to dance with him, go beat him right now. So I think he transitions well. I think the only difficult thing is 2019 was injury plagues for him, right? So is that where he is in 2020, or can it be a guy that, when healthy, would he have been a 2nd round, a 1st round pick with healthy? Would he have ran better? Would we have saw more production from him? And you definitely would have saw more production from him in his senior year, because he would have been healthy. So I think, we're watching film, but we just know those injuries. But he does do some good things coming around the corner, bending, and just hopefully that ankle strength. If he gets healthy, that ankle strength, a lot of those rushes, he would have been on his feet. Those would have been, we just saw 2 sacks he missed. Those have been 2 extra sacks. Where would he rank then?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think he's gonna be asked to drop in coverage a lot, at least not year 1, because he didn't really do it a lot at Florida. And like him being a little bit more tight, I don't think he's gonna be able to really open up and bail and things like that to be able to get in the coverage.
But he's not gonna be. Nobody's gonna. He's a 3 down, hand in the dirt guy. Not many of the guys that were, hand in the dirt guy in college expected to be, kind of hands in the dirt, stand up a little bit, go inside in the NFL. Not many of the guys you're telling, hey, run down the field with this tight end, or
no.
And using more of your your football IQ to read the zone. And so that's the biggest thing is, can he transition into reading the zone, matching the patterns, seeing the route combination, anticipating, where the threats are coming from? Can he do those things, because he wasn't asked to do them in college?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be like a true like hook the curl guy or anything like that. Like maybe if you ask him to drop back and certain
or a flat or something like that,
in a flat, or maybe like wall off inside, prevent any crossers or anything like that. So I don't think he's going to be asked to do a ton in terms of coverage, but I think he could drop into some more shallow zones. But in terms of like matching tight ends and man coverage, not when you have Marcus May, Jamal Adams,
Exactly.
David now. Like, you're not going to ask him to do that a ton. Even Mosley, who I think is a underrated cover guy, he actually got hurt on a Tampa too. I think it was a post against the Tampa too, and he was able to deflect it, and he pulled his groin. But Mosley's really good in coverage, so I don't think you're gonna be asking Davis a lot to be doing that. But I think like nickel packages and throwing situations, like using him inside, using his explosion. I think
versatile. Listen, he's a versatile player, especially. See, when you can bump a guy down the inside, you know that you created some sort of quickness matchup, right? So you bump down over a guard, you know that, okay, he should be quicker than this guard, right? And so I remember as a rookie, a lot of times they'll bump me down over the guard. And I think my first sack was that 3 technique, right? Over the guard, because you can use your quickness, your straight line speed, where you're not actually
which he has.
That edge rusher with bending. So bump him down, let him, be athletic, let him be, use that motor to get in the backfield, and then develop him as an outside guy, standing up guy. But I think GW does a good job of, he's not a 3-4, he's not a 4-3. It's kind of whatever works, now. And this is just another piece to the arsenal in New York.
Yeah, and I think that's like true too in terms of like his sack production in year one. I think it's even more from the inside, using that explosion pass guys, because he has that explosion more than he has that bend to get pass guys on the outside. So I think in passing situations, you're going to see some sacks coming from the inside where he's able to beat centers and guards off of the ball, just exploding through the A gap or the B gap, whatever it may be. So
and he'll develop some rushes. He'll develop, as you saw right there, was a lot of just the rips, right? He didn't have any swipes. You didn't see any, long arms to slap that arm off, arm over. So I think as he develops as a rusher, as he develops, okay, I'm a third down rusher, he'll have a rush plan for being this third down against this guard, right? If I'm going to rush from out here, okay, I'm going to have a rush plan every game I go into. So I think, his senior year, playing sparingly, you're kind of just rushing, trying to make plays. But now I think this should be good.
Yeah, that, and too, like the things you said, like learning when to use arm overs or flattening his angles, or like I said, like, throwing a little bit more speed and threatening the edge a little bit more, getting a guard to open their hips and work the angles where he could explode through his chest, like things like that. I think he'll learn playing with better leverage. So I'm excited for him. We'll see how he develops in year one. Jamal, you have anything else to say before we let you go? Maybe if the Jets sign a Vinny Curry or another edge guy, maybe we'll throw you back on the show and we can break down some film.
No, I appreciate you having me. I always love talking D-line play, pass rush. I always enjoy it, man. And as you can see from him, I mean, they had a third-round pick last year from the same school. It didn't pan out. We don't
talk about that on this show. We don't talk about that. He doesn't exist. Who you talk? What guy? I'm confused.
a lot of kind of immaturity off the field stuff. So seeing them going back to the well again, and I mean, this guy he played a lot of football there. Played through some injury, played through some pain. So you like to see that from a guy that that you expect to come in and it's a pros now, right? There's no time to be in the training room, so you got to be out there every day.
Yeah, the Jets are like Florida North. Like they got Poole and they got Zuniga. They got a bunch of guys from. I think they have like 5 or 6, 7 guys on the roster from Florida. So they're all going to be loving it. But Jamal, we appreciate you having you on. We'll be maybe in contact for another show in the future. But like I said, even just for this show, we definitely appreciate you having you on, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future.
Hey, appreciate it. We're going to make the Jets, I think we'll make the Jets Rutgers North. They got Bless on. We can get Logan Ryan over there. Maybe make it Rutgers East.
I'm fine with that. I'm right by Rutgers. So, well, not right by Rutgers. I'm like 45 minutes from Rutgers. So Rutgers players the better, and I would hope to see Rutgers develop and keep developing and taking steps up in college football, because the last couple of years have been a struggle for that program transitioning. But I think they're on the upswing. I'm hoping they are. So.
Yeah, we're definitely on the upstream. I mean, a lot of players coming through, but if you just look at the history of draft picks and development of players, I think, we've done a good job here.
Yeah,
I mean, look at what's on Austin, look at the Twins. I mean, Logan Ryan was a Rutgers guy, Deron Harmon. So especially in that secondary. So I'm excited for the new crop coming in. I'm excited to watch some Bless, get some more play this year, and hopefully they'll get Logan in the fold.
Yeah, Bless was a guy who played really, really well at Rutgers. He just had injury problems. That's why he dropped so far. When he came in for the Jets, he played really well. And then you just had McCourty, who was, I think, just like named to like 24th on the all-decade team.
Yeah,
come from there. So they're producing some guys. Hopefully, we see more like consistency with them winning, because I want to go to Rutgers games and see them dominate for sure.
Come on back, man. They're gonna be dominant again, man. Come on back. A lot of excitement, man. A lot of fun, a lot of focus, man. But definitely going to be it's been an exciting time now. It's going to be an exciting season. I mean, I just hope everybody's being safe, everybody's staying inside, man, and hopefully things hopefully everybody's healthy and we can get back to some sort of normalcy when it comes to life. And I think sports is such a big part of life, with just, the adversity it teaches, and teamwork and the dedication and working at your craft. So hopefully, for especially, high school kids, younger, into college and pros, we can get back to some normalcy.
Hopefully there's a season, that'll be a huge blow to college football fans. We'll see how that, I'm not going to get into all that, but we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully all this stuff, the curve keeps flattening and dropping down, and there's no more freaking coronavirus. Don't have to worry about any of this stuff, because even watching college or NFL games, no people in the stadium, like how weird would that be? That's my last question before I let you go. You're playing in the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
With Tiger Cats, I believe it was. You said?
Yeah, I was with the Hamilton Tiger Cats last season.
But even let's say 2010, you're with the Jets. You're expecting to go to a huge stadium in Arrowhead, and there's no fans. Like, how would that be? Like, what would that be like playing like that?
I think it'd be crazy. I hope really that doesn't come to it, because I think the fans that just make the sport. But I think, as players, as guys, a guy that played, a guy that's coaching now, and just knowing a ton of players, I think guys love to play the game, man. They love to go out there and compete. And listen, man, I went to high school in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. I'll tell you something right now. We had some fans, but it wasn't a ton of fans, and I was still able to go out there and just play football, right? So I think when it comes to sports, I think they put in so much work into it that they don't want to play without the fans, but we always know the fans will be watching. So hopefully things get going this year. Everybody's working hard to thrive and not surviving, and just keep working towards our goals. Yeah, for sure. All right, Jamaal, we definitely appreciate having you on. Appreciate you, man. Have a great day, man. See you later, man. All right. So like I said, we really appreciate having Jamaal on. We did a good, probably like an hour-ish, hour and a half with him on the show. So now what I'm going to do, let me set up my screen a little bit. Like I said, once I get to 50 reviews, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to go to the list randomizer, and what I want the person to do who wins is you're going to go to Jets, or let me make sure this is completely right so I don't screw you guys up. I'm sure you'll be able to find it anyway, but Jet X. Okay, so what you're going to go to the website is jetxshop.com, no spaces. I want you to send me your email me. You're going to email me BlewettJoe@Yahoo, BLEWETT Joe, no spaces, @Yahoo. Shoot me the shirt you want, the size, and your home address, and I will send you a shirt, like I said, for free. Like I said, I appreciate everybody leaving reviews. We're going to do it like every 25 reviews we're going to throw out a shirt, maybe a shirt and a subscription. We're just going to do a shirt for now. So I will, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this. I'm doing this with you guys. Actually, let me see that. Okay. So, okay, so share desktop. Okay, so you see all this. That's my new Zuniga stuff. So, where is my list? So this is all the names. You can pause it. If you don't think your name is in here, you're not right. So this is all the names. Copy, paste. We're going to go to, hold on a second. I screwed something up there. List. Okay. Sorry, I screwed it up. Now let me try to do this again. Desktop. Okay, so you see everything here. Go back to the names. I'll copy and paste the names again. Don't think I'm cheating. Copy this. The top name is going to be the winner. There's all the names in there. We're going to randomize it. Okay, so B. Vandervliet. I'm going to give you until Saturday night at 11:59. Saturday night at 11:59, I need you to email me. Give me your shirt size, your home address. If not, now for the people who are 2 to 5 right here, what I want you to do is, if I don't give that shirt out, the first person to email me on Sunday, so that's Sunday at 12 a.m., that's at 12 o'clock at night, midnight, email me. The first person to email me at that time will be the shirt winner out of the top 5. So if Fire, TRK, Mick, and BBR, BBB, whatever, GV, Reflex, and Vin Lotto, you email me Sunday.
the first person to. If Vanderbilt doesn't answer by Saturday night, then you are the person to win it. So Vanderbilt, you have until Saturday night, 11:59. After that, the first person to email me to these top 5 people, you're going to get the shirt. So that's how it's working. Appreciate everybody for listening. Pick the shirt. Again, we have, I think I'm actually, well, I'm not, I don't think. I'm actually wearing the Blewett Blitz shirt. You have Mekhi Becton shirt. You have a Jet X shirt. You have a bunch of shirts. So pick the one you want. Send it to your house for free. It's going to take a little bit longer because of the whole COVID-19 thing going on. But I appreciate everybody for listening. Like I said, the 2 through 5, email me. If the guy claimed it, I'll mail you back real quick. Sorry, it was claimed already. So appreciate everybody for listening. And I will see you in a couple of days with P. Ryan's review. After P. Ryan, it'll probably be Hall. If Logan Ryan gets signed, I'm going to put him to the top and do hopefully Logan Ryan next. So I appreciate you for listening. Drop those reviews. Another 25 will send another free shirt. Appreciate everybody.